This is the
Brothers and sisters, this will be the last question. This is a person wrote this. In today's Chicago Defender, a story was printed about a Muslim brother in Los Angeles being killed with a deputy sheriff's backup pistol after being disarmed by the Muslim brother. Is this story true? And how should we handle this? How should we handle this kind of situation if it were to happen in Chicago?
I noticed that the news of what happened in Los Angeles yesterday did not hit the news here in Chicago. They purposely kept it from Chicago. It did play in New York and in other cities. As you may know, Allah willing, I'm scheduled to be in Los Angeles on the 2nd of February at the sports arena, a place that holds about 16,000 people. And as you know, I was out there a few months ago where we inaugurated in October the Stop the Killing series. And since that time, we have been working with the gangs. In Los Angeles, there are the Crips and the Bloods, and they wear different colors, and they kill each other if you have on the wrong color. If you're wearing red in a neighborhood where it should be blue, they'll kill you. If you wear blue in a neighborhood where it should be red, they'll kill you. I went out and sat down with about 50 of the gang leaders of the Bloods, the Crips, and others. And they said what took place was a miracle that day, because I talked to them in the home of Jim Brown, the immortal football great. And after talking with them, they literally cried, some of them, because they don't want to kill each other. But circumstances are such that they're in it now. And I met 12 and 13 and 14-year-olds that had already killed another human being. But that night they held each other's hands, and we said prayer together as we dismissed. And then I assigned my son, Mustafa, Brother Khalid, Brother Malik. Khalid would work with the Bloods and Malik would work with the Crips, and another brother named Shaheed. 2 weeks ago, Brother Malik, who has a group of young men, they don't come straight into the mosque. They meet them in the street. They're gangbangers. And he teaches them in the street and begins to gradually bring them to the mosque. So Malik had a group of them, and they sell pies, they sell fish, they're not selling drugs, and they make a good amount of money. The young men, they live together in what is called an FOI house. They get up in the morning after prayer at 5 a.m. and they were on their way to the gymnasium to work out. It was about 5:30 or 5:45 in the morning. As they were on their way, their car was stopped. And the police at that time asked the brothers to get out of the car, and they got out of the car, and they asked them to lay down on the ground. And one of the brothers, I think it was Brother Malik, said to the police officer, "You may search us, you may question us, but we are not going to lay down on the ground." The officer pulled his gun. "You're going to lay down on the ground, or I'll blow your so-and-so brains out." And from what I hear, the brother said, "Well, you do what you have to do. We're not laying down on the ground." So words passed, and then a fight started. They called for backup, and there was about 20-some police and sheriff on about maybe 9 to 11 Muslims. And some of the brothers were put in the hospital, and some of the police were also put in the hospital. I think 4 police and 3 brothers. And some of the policemen had broken arms, broken legs, and whatnot. Well, that set the stage. Once that happens, and they hear that there was a fight with some Muslims, and somebody's leg got broke, an arm got broke, and they were not going to make sure, they were going to make sure that there wasn't going to be no leg breaking this time. The Muslims, on the same night, a day that this happened, a meeting was called, and all the precinct commanders of the Los Angeles Police Department were present in a meeting with the Muslims and the community leaders. And they were explaining to the police our effort to take our young brothers off of drugs, out of the colors, putting them into something that is neutral, and then gradually putting them to work and bringing them to the discipline of Islam. And everybody was there except the sheriff's department. And that night, one of the squads of young men, not registered in the mosque, but have accepted Islam, and they were under the tutelage of those who were in the mosque. Okay? They had taken a project area, and a Muslim was the manager of the project. And they had 2 apartments in the project, and these young men, former gangbangers, were living in the apartment. These young men, the people testified, were once gangbangers. Now they're wearing suits and ties, and their language has changed, their actions have changed, and the people in that project could begin to walk around like Mayfair's mansion. Right. And night before last, they were out putting up posters announcing my coming into the city and selling tickets to the event. And as they turned in their posters and ticket money and were driving home, as they got into their driveway, the sheriffs came up. And they said it was a routine traffic problem. And from what I understand, one of the sheriffs began to beat the brother in the car with his flashlight. And the other brothers that are living in the apartment, they had come down to see what the problem was, and the sheriffs told them that don't come any further. And then when they started beating the brother, then the brothers went to the brothers' aid, as we have to do. And the police have pulled out his weapon. I do not know whether the truth is that they took the weapon from the sheriff. I really don't know. But they came up shooting, the sheriffs, and they called for backup, and they're all white, and they began shooting at the brothers. And they killed one of our brothers, and I heard that when he lay on the ground, they shot him some more. They shot another brother in his back. That meant his back was turned to them. He couldn't have been fighting them. Shot him in the back, in the shoulder, and in the back. And even though he was wounded, they tried to make him stand against the wall. And when he couldn't stand up, they dragged him to the ground and they beat him. And of course, there are witnesses now to all of this. And the city of Los Angeles now is on fire. I don't mean they're burning it to the ground, but I mean the heat in the black community is reaching now a fever pitch. And it's not that the Muslims are defending themselves, it's the total community now defending the Muslims. And the people are saying these are good people. Because we see what they did and cleaned up our community and these young men. And everybody's down on the sheriff's department, and I mean it's a bad serious scene now.
Hit the motherfucking floor, baby! Come on! Let's go!